Today, Caroline will be talking about how you can build credibility at work and position yourself to get the respect that you deserve. So please give a warm welcome to Caroline.
Thank you, Nikki. Over 20 years experience, yes. I'm really delighted to be able to come up and talk to you all today. As Nikki said, I'm an executive coach, so I spend a lot of time coaching executives, business leaders, directors, emerging leaders, and I'm so delighted to be able to come here and talk to you today because credibility is for everybody. You know, that's something that's important for all of us. And particularly, I have a complete passion for helping women in business as well, so it's lovely to be able to work with you all today. So the company I work with is called Seven. You're meeting me, and then later on today you're also going to meet Evelyn, so you get two of the seven today. And as I said, we're going to talk about how to build credibility at work. So what is credibility? Credibility is like a big overarching umbrella for such a large number of important elements. There's authenticity, there's integrity, there's trust, there's commitment, there's responsibility, there's regard, and there's reliability. That makes it sound tough all just by itself, doesn't it? All those seven things as once. So we've been working on how to make it a much easier thing for people at all levels to work on. And I came back into my previous career. So I used to be a marketing director for a number of household brands that you might have heard of. So Pepsi, Walker's Crisps, Tropicana, Quaker. And for all of those brands, credibility was absolutely critical. Not only was credibility critical, but so was differentiation. To stand out in the marketplace, these brands needed to have a unique brand benefit. And they needed to be able to support that with a unique reason to believe that everybody felt was true and to the brand and that they could actually really believe in. And on top of that, the third thing they needed was a way to actually engage with their audience. As I thought about credibility at work, it made sense that these two things came together. Because actually, when you're building your personal brand, that's like creating credibility on steroids. Okay? Because you're getting interaction, you're getting trust, as well as connection. Okay? So when I work with all these different clients, what I do is I now work to help them build their personal brand. Who they are, what they stand for, why should you believe the things they say, and how do they create that connectivity and connection in the world? So, on that basis, I'd love to reach out to all of you and ask, who here feels that they've got a personal brand? Brilliant. Great. Anyone else? Okay. Here's insight number one. Ooh. Your brand is what people say about you when you leave the room. Okay. That means we've all got a brand, whether we create it or not. So if we're out there standing for what we believe in, we might have a brand. Or if we're breathing away in the corner, working really hard, keeping our head down, we're still creating a brand. Scary, isn't it? Okay. When I stood up on the stage today, I was very aware of the fact that I'm a brand here as well, and I'm being judged. Now, you'll have made a call on who I am based on how I walked up on the stage, what I've done, and everything. As my coach once said to me, don't worry about being judged. You already have been. So the important thing is to know, okay, you know what? We do stand, no matter whether we stand tall or we stand small, we are seen. So then the important question becomes, What do you want your brand to be? And what do you want to stand for? When I mentioned the brands earlier, when I was talking about Pepsi and Quaker and Walker's, talks about one of the things that's really important in that kind of those busy supermarket shelves is you stand out. And I think that's actually really important for us as well in the business place, that we stand for something and we stand for something uniquely. And also that we stand for something that's true to ourselves and what we can really deliver. So on that basis, what I'd love you to do is just connect. Close your eyes if it helps. Think of a situation whereby you were in the workplace. It may be you were in an office, or it may be that you were working virtually. But you just finished a meeting. Okay? You've just finished a meeting and you made a real impact. You made a difference. You rocked. Okay. And as you leave that room, be it a real room or a virtual room, people talk about you. They talk about what you achieved, what you've done. What I'd love you to do now is to choose a partner, well, take a partner on either side of you, stand up in a second and share with them in one sentence, who were you being? When you were being your best, when you were rocking, when you really made a difference, who were you being? Everyone ready? Everyone got something? Okay, up we come. One sentence, share with one another. I was sensing some bubblings of excitement, some really good long sentences going on there. How was that? Yeah. How was that? Good? Okay. Did everybody find something? Yeah. Okay, here's the second question. Knowing that, what would you like to be your stretch? What would you like to be known for? What would you like to stand for that's a stretch from where you are now? It may build on what you're doing, it may expand what you're doing. What would you like to be famous for at work? People come to you for this. People see you as the expert in this. People know they can trust you for this. What might that be? There's something about when you stand up and you share it, it becomes more real. So I'm going to ask you again, stand up and share with one another. What do you want to stand for? I'm loving it. There's lots of energy and warmth and excitement in the room. Did you find things? Yeah. How did it feel? So I don't know about you, but I think my next question for me would be, okay, so how do I do that? How do I make that real? And that's where it's quite a good thing to come back to that whole kind of brand marketing again. And I'm going to share with you a different brand, a brand that I love. And hopefully some of you will identify with this as well. And that brand is Mini. Yay, exactly. Got some more Mini fans in the room. I think Mini does a beautiful job of branding. Okay, because it is fun, isn't it? It's a really, really fun car to have. And it's fun in a cheeky way. It's fun in an exciting way. It's very stylish. You can customize it. And I love their view of it, minimalism, very clever. But, the fact that they've taken something and they've made it small, granted it's getting a little bit bigger, and they've just made an amazing car that a family can get into, an individual can drive, and you just really, really enjoy the experience. Okay, so that's what they stand for, and these are their brand values. Okay, so then how do they take that and bring that out into the world for us? Well, for those of you who've got Minis, and know, there's something about there's everything from the experience of driving it. It's like driving a go-kart in the best possible way. It's like it's got a real raw experience to it. And it's the whole interior of it is really fun. It looks quite race car-like with the big dials, etc. So they create fun in the actual experience. They stay so true to their customization. I have to say, I thought this was a brilliant idea. These, lights aren't particularly exciting parts of the car, but they are with Mini, because now they've got their backlights that look like Union Jacks. and the roofs for some of their convertibles look like Union Jacks. Okay, so there's fun and it's customized. You can choose how you want your roof if you've got a convertible. You can choose the colors. You can go completely off-piste and make it flower power. You can, it's a way of self-expression, and stylish self-expression as well. And for anybody who's ever bought a brand new Mini, they make the whole buying piece is very on brand, doesn't it? Yes, I can see that I don't know, would you like to tell us, like, what made it so Mini for you?
Well, you are invited into at the dealer, and the Mini would be packed, covered, and they would do a whole ceremony with the guy you bought it from, and then you would stand on either side of the Mini, and then you would unroll actually your own Mini. I have pictures of that.
Oh.
And then they would come with flowers and champagne and everything. So yeah, of course.
Like one big party. Yeah. And it's like a gift. It's a gift. It's a present to yourself. Absolutely. And this lady here, she got it with a big bow for Christmas as well. The whole experience, as you said, from meeting the people to customizing it to going and picking it up is a complete party. It's fun, fun, fun. So can you see they've taken this word fun and they've created it around the whole experience? Okay, so then how do we do that with our own brand, with our own personal brand? How do we create an experience of it? There's a lady called Sylvia Ann Hewitt, and she went and talked to thousands of people in the business world in America. And she asked them, okay, so what creates executive presence? And she found that the number one impact, 67% of the overall impact you create is actually how you act, your gravitas. The second one was how you speak, your communication, what you say and how you say it. And interestingly, how you look was actually 5% of it. Which is interesting, isn't it? Because I don't know about you, but I remember when I first went for a job interview, you were told, they decide whether or not they like you the minute you walk in the room. Well, that's very much, you kind of think, oh, that's all about how do I look. But actually, how you act, the confidence that you exude, the way you move, all those things have a real impact in terms of and how your brand works. So what I'd like to do now is share some tips with you on each of these sections and talk about, okay, how can you really build your creativity and drive your brand through with these three sections. The American term is gravitas. And that's the whole piece about how do you act. And what we teach in coaching is there's some very much outer directed and then there's some inner directed work that you can do with that. So I don't know about you, but for me, if I want to stand for something, I need to know that I actually really, really know it, and that I'm an expert in it. So would somebody be comfortable sharing with the group the words or the sentence that came up for them in terms of what they'd like to be? Yes.
I wanted to be the kind of go-to person in the office, someone who has been around for a long time, and I was like, oh, after on a catch-all name.
You've got all the knowledge. Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. So I love that. That's a lovely brand statement.
So can we just repeat that for everybody in case they didn't hear just what the lady at the front said?
Yes, of course. Yes. So what this lovely lady said was that she wanted to be the person with all the wisdom, the go-to person who knows how the business works, how everything works. The fountain of knowledge. Yeah. So, in which case, so how then do you make sure that you've got leading edge expertise in this area? I'm guessing what it means is that you would therefore be looking at, making sure that you know everything, that you're constantly building your library of information, your knowledge of what you're doing. You might be looking at competition, and seeing what they're doing and how you sit. You'll be literally looking at how do I know as much as I can about this area. better than anyone else. Not in a competitive, I need to stand out, but this is, if I'm going to be the real expert in that, expert means that I really, really know and understand that. So that's an outer directed one. Okay. The other really, really important one, so if that helps you build your confidence, the other piece is also the voice inside. Okay, your inner champion. Okay. Because if you go around and say, you know what, I am that fountain of knowledge. I'm the go-to person. I know all of that stuff. And that's the story, that's the soundtrack you give yourself, it will become real. Okay. If you question yourself, which we do, and that's why, as Nikki introduced, it's a really important piece for me, is helping people tame their inner critic. It's that negative voice that always says, "You sure? Are you good enough? Do you really know what you're talking about?" If we let those voices dominate, then that's the music that the people around us are going to hear. I'm not quite sure. I don't really know. Whereas if actually the soundtrack that you tell yourself is, yes, I am the go-to person. Yes, I am the expert. Yes, I do know, I am the source of all the knowledge. And you go out and offer that and you exude that, it works. It really does. But it's almost practicing hearing that soundtrack in your head. The second piece is communication. And there's a what you say, and that's also, again, that can be an outer directed one where you can talk about, you know what, hey, if you want to know more about this, come and talk to me. I've been here for this long, I've got this knowledge, you can go out and share. Or if you say, actually, what I really want to be is I want to be seen as the creative or the event planner, drop it into the conversation. Hey, a creative answer for this might be X. Or this sounds like a tricky issue. What could be a creative solution? You start using the language. Or if you want to be known as being the expert in event planning, oh, hey, I've seen these new techniques. And you start sharing it. Okay, you start being known for the area that you want to excel in. Does that make sense? And then there's also, that's what you're telling everybody. And then what the music inside yourself is also the way that you talk. So when I talk about mood music, it's a lot, that there's what we say and then there's how we say it. Okay. And so if I talk really quickly to you and I'm really, really excited, you're going to feel completely different to if I'm actually really slow and it's kind of a lullaby. I'm not very good at very slow, can you tell? Yeah, it's just a soothing, quiet, gentle. That changes how you see. So there's a mood music in terms of the how, and there's also the what's going on in your head when you talk to somebody. Okay, so is there a welcoming, yes, I really want to connect with you, yes, I'm here to help you, or an excitement, or is it a kind of, I'm really busy, I really don't want to know? You don't necessarily need to say that. They'll pick it up in the way you react. They'll pick it up in your tone. So what is the music the mood music you want to project to people that fits with your brand? Yeah? Sometimes some of my clients actually go and choose a track that they like, that they feel is them, or maybe even have an album or a playlist. And that's what helps you then kind of tune into that. It might be what you have that you play on the tube or on the way to work, or when you're going out for a walk or you're running. It's just that song. It just, you can reconnect with who do you want to be? What do you want to exude to everybody? And then the last one is appearance. And that's not only how you dress, but there are many, many ways of giving off visual cues from the area that you work in. What does your desk say about you? What does your screensaver say about you? And that's even before we get to social media and all those other things. There are cues that you give that go beyond the clothes that you wear. And they all can add up to your brand. I glanced over this chart very quickly at the beginning because it's a chart of the detail for how we help executives create their personal brand. It takes a good 3 to 6 months, so it wasn't something that we could do in 20 minutes today. But I thought what would be good was just to kind of go through each of the areas, and I've kind of put up given you an example of what my brand might be, just to be able to make it real for you. So the first piece is all about your brand purpose. What impact do you want to have? What difference do you want to make in your organization? So for me, what I want to do is I want to help individuals and organizations dream big and make it happen. So have that whole confidence to make it happen. My brand values are very much based on who I am as an individual and what's important to me. So my number one brand value is about connection. So it's really important that I have a chance to connect with my clients, to empathize with them, to build a safe space, and to talk and communicate. Achievement's also really important. I want to help my clients get to where they want to go and be there to support them and champion them and encourage them. I believe in hard work, and I'll ask the same of my clients as well in order to make that happen. And for me, an important value is all about personal growth, so helping them along their journey. How do they get there? What do they learn? Giving them books, TED Talks, things like that to really support them along the way. Because my target audience are individuals and organizations who want to dream big, but are being held back by that inner critic, those voices that we talked about at the beginning. So my positioning, my whole piece is about the fact that I inspire. That's what I want to do. I want to inspire individuals and organizations to shine bright, to be confident in who they are and the stars that they really can be as a result. Okay? I do that through one-to-one coaching. I'll do blogs. I do public speaking. There are a number of ways that I make that happen so I can actually project that to people. But the important thing is that the belief inside, and that's the whole piece about becoming the expert in it, reading about it, talking about it, being it. I need to therefore be the person that I want my clients to be as well. So in summary, how do you build credibility? You dream it. You connect with who you are and how you want to stretch that further, like we did in that exercise then. You achieve it by making it happen, thinking about all those different things, about what do, what do you say, how do you act, what visual cues have you got around it. But most importantly, out of all of those, is you believe it on the inside, because when that story, when that soundtrack is playing on the inside, people feel your brand. Thank you.